start?
I think like what happened was when we started writing for this record, we started off back in our old ways, and then we hit a point where I remember being at your house and I can't remember what, maybe it was Bloodline. We were writing, we were trying to brainstorm ideas for the song, and we just went, hang on, we have so much to talk about that's outside the narrow scope we put ourselves into, so let's go there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the last album with Mesmer was the first chance I got to explore something a bit more personal to me. I guess prior to that I'd been a bit unsure of how to present that kind of thing, or if it would even work for Northlane, and maybe it was just a matter of it, me settling in. This time around it felt right to talk about these kind of more personal, a bit more confronting topics that we've never really tackled. I've never really tackled outside of Northlane either, in terms of, in a musical sense. And as all of the music came together and all these songs came together, it felt just like the tone of that was, it was the right time to start getting a bit deeper with what we're talking about. And for me it's been pretty difficult to talk about some of these things to do with my upbringing or whatever it might be, but at the end of the day it's quite refreshing to have gotten it out and put into this format.
Well, I was gonna add a small anecdote, and that was that I think the real tipping point was that I knew that these topics had only ever been skimmed over, never really properly addressed, and the stories were never properly told, and the music sounded so dark and angry that there was nothing else that was going to do it justice.
Yeah, if we were to talk about anything else, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah, so it all kind of just came together at the right time. I think it was a matter of me being more comfortable in my position with Northlane, and just it being appropriate for the music. I think it would have been one of those first songs we wrote in this session of songs that we knew once that topic had been tackled that it's perfect for the rest of the album, I guess.
I remember sitting down with you, and the way we started writing these songs, I think it was a bit, even addressing it felt a little overwhelming, and you were telling me a few stories at your house, and I just started writing down what you were saying to me, and we didn't even put anything into a song that day, but we did that for hours. And I remember riding my bike home from your house, just thinking about the can of worms we just opened, and how deep that went, and how significant it was. And I was shocked. I had no idea that it's different when you actually tell the story to just say this wasn't a good time for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely a therapeutic thing even just doing those sessions where we just talk about it. Though it was really hard. I remember those first few songs we started doing that with. We talk about all this stuff, have this document kind of outlining what the story is and what I was telling Josh, but I just wouldn't be able to have come up with anything. For those first few songs, I would just be sitting there kind of just thinking about the story I just told Josh. And it was I couldn't get anything out for a little while, but then we got the flow going. There are those songs that don't really have that, closed ending or the moral of the story. But I think then in the end, the moral of the story is the fact that these songs were even written after all of this stuff that has happened. And even though it's recounting a terrible time from when I was younger, it still means I've still been able to get past it all and make it here and do what we do. So even if it's dark all the way through, it still has a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. These songs are topics that aren't really talked about so openly. There's definitely people definitely talk about their issues with addiction or whether or domestic violence growing up or whatever, but there's not often very detailed descriptions of what happened during those times. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who can relate to that haven't felt like there's a voice for them.
Especially when you were laying down your final vocals and I was listening back on it, and you could hear, like, because you're telling the story of something that happened to you and it's still vivid and is like significant life event that you never forget, and like hearing the emotion in your voice and like the desperation in the song and how it all comes together and connected with me was really confronting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very confronting for a lot of people. But I think that as well, like maybe it's someone who hasn't gone through that kind of stuff, but it's still, at least then there'll be an understanding as well from people who haven't had anything like that happen to them. Whereas, like I said, people who have gone through similar things will hopefully be able to connect with it and realise they're not alone.